This is going to sound really harsh, but if you can't find a baby name you love for your child, or you hate more names than you actually like, the issue is with you and not with the selection of baby names out there. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news here, and don't worry, it's totally fixable. This is a morally neutral issue, and I have 5 ways that I can help you break free of this kind of negative mindset about baby names. It is actually so normal to put a lot of pressure on yourself and to start to wonder if there's a name that's going to be good enough for your child, if there's going to be a name that is special enough or important enough. You are not alone if you are feeling those emotions and feelings, but the important thing is to end up choosing one. And thankfully, most of us have a full pregnancy or longer, and we have time to process and go through lots of names and make decisions, but it is harder than it looks, right? So I'm going to give you guys some tools to help navigate if you were getting into a really negative headspace when it comes to baby names. Before we actually dive into my 5 things, I want to do a little checklist to see if this is you, right? So if you can answer yes to any of these questions. So number 1, you dislike more names than you like. You hear a name and you're like, don't like it, more often than not. Number 2, your inspiration list is basically non-existent. Like, you don't have a name. If someone's like, what are you thinking about? What is your top list? What are you trying to decide between? You have nothing. You're like, I don't know. I literally can't picture using any name. Number 3, it's making you sad to talk about names. You're avoiding having conversations with your partner about baby names. You're just kind of like, maybe if we don't think about it for a while, it'll just come to me. I can't do this right now. And finally, you're really worried about never finding a name that you love and that you're going to have to give your child a name you dislike. Step 1 is to approach names with wonder. And actually, this would make really good life advice too. So approach everything with wonder, but especially baby names when you are at this time in your life trying to pick a name for a child. So that means approaching things with curiosity and being curious about learning more about the name, hearing it more than once, not being super dismissive, finding the joy and the beauty in the name. So I'll give you an example of 2 names that I don't really care for. I hear them too much. They're too trendy for me. They're not my favorites, but I'm going to tell you what I do like about them because I'm going to approach them with wonder, because we don't just easily dismiss things, right? We're trying to find a baby name we love. And this approach is the positive way to get to there. So my 2 names that I'm going to share with you guys are Jackson and Peyton. Now, these are very popular names and they are lovely names, but they are not for me. And it's easy for me to just be like, I don't like them. But here's the thing. The more I think about it, I love Jack as a nickname for Jackson. And I think it's a really cute surname is first name. It's fun. It's got a little bit of a Southern vibe. Great. See how I'm already smiling more? I'm thinking about it more. I'm talking about it in a nicer way. Now, Peyton, I love P names. So what bothers me about Peyton? I don't know, but maybe I'd call her Tony. Peyton, I don't know, or Pay. I think Pay is really cute, so I like to think of the nickname options. And I also just like to put it with my last name. So my last name is Cofield, Peyton Cofield. That's actually really pretty. Jackson Cofield, also gorgeous. So by now, I'm like, I don't dislike them as much as I used to. That's what you need to do with names, okay? Approach with wonder. Number 2 is a continuation of number 1. We are going to break everything down into 4 different lists, and we are not going to dismiss any name. So we are going to have love, and it's okay if you don't have anything in it right away, okay? Like, maybe, and that's interesting. If you follow along with my short form, you might hear me say that in the comments or in videos where I'm trying not to be judgmental, because I don't really think that's helpful in any situation, especially when the child's already here. But if you're thinking about names and you're like, I don't really like it, I usually like to say, that's interesting. So for me, I might put Jackson and Peyton in the that's interesting pile in the list, right? There's nothing that's a big, hard no. We don't need to be so negative. We can just be like, oh, that's interesting, And you might be able to tell, okay, they don't really like that name when they say that, but that's okay. We don't want to dwell in that space. So I encourage you to consider all the names that fit your criteria. We've talked about this before in my baby name blueprint. If you have not watched that video, that is a great process of narrowing down. And what do we start with? We start with our name style. So if your name style is vintage surnames, or your name style is whimsical astronomy names, if it's long names with gender bending nicknames, whatever it is, you pick all the names in that style. So you figure out the style that you and your partner both agree, and you're like, oh, we just love these names. Put them all in a different category, but don't get rid of any of them. So here's an example of Otis and Martha are gorgeous vintage names, but most people are like, Otis, dog name, or Martha, reminds me of Bertha, right? People aren't into those as much right now. So those 2 might go in that's interesting, but we don't eliminate them. We try to find things we like about them. And maybe in turn that will move up some of the other names that you're like, ooh, Silas. Actually, the more I think about it, I love Silas. I don't just like Silas. Could move up other names. Number 3 is going to be fake it till you make it. And this is where we're going to try on a name for a day. And we're going to literally pretend that we've given the baby this name, and we're going to write it down, and we're going to say it to our partner, and we're going to talk about it lovingly, and we're going to give it to baby and really try it on. This is an exercise I have parents do when they cannot come up with anything they like. I say, just pick a name you kind of like, any sort of name. I just want you to connect a name to baby and go through that process. Even if that's not the name you end up choosing, it helps you to associate them with some sort of name and actually see, okay, they're going to be a person and they need a name. And actually that is really cool. It's not the right name, but it's a good exercise to do. And this doesn't just mean like you can go to Starbucks and have them write it on the cup, or you can shout it from the top of the steps like people like to do. But it's really for like 1 to 3 days, really considering that that's their name. And keep it private, like we've talked about. You don't need to share this with anyone. In case you've missed it, I've also done a video on the 3 biggest baby naming mistakes, and one of them is, spoiler alert, telling people ahead of time. So you would keep it within your household, but really imagine it. I need you to actually be actors for me for a minute, which is my background is in acting. And I need you to really try it on and pretend, because I think it can help us like break free of that. Nothing works. There's nothing. This kid is going to never have a name. There's nothing that's good enough. There's nothing that's going to work. No, there is something that could work, and it might not be this, but let's give it a try anyway. Okay. Number 4 is to use a different metric to measure how much you love a name. So right now we're doing Otis, too old sounding and weird and quirky. Milo, too popular, right? But they kind of have the same vibe. They're both vintage and they're super cute and adorable sounding, right? Instead of doing that, because you just dismissed both of them, find a different metric. Like look for only names that end in the O sound, like Milo, Arlo, and Harlow, and Hugo. And from the popular to the uncommon, make a list of all those and then categorize them with the categories that we talked about earlier, okay? Or look for names that only mean love, or only mean happiness, or new beginnings, right? Those are really popular name meanings for baby names. And that can be really helpful, because then you're like, okay, this is so special. What if we find it this way? You just need a different avenue in sometimes. It could be only girl names that end in a T. Man, we love how it ends in a T, like Scarlet and Violet right before our surname. We just love that sound. Oh, you love a sound. Well, you might not love a name, but if you keep looking and you only are focused on looking for names that end in a T, you might find it that way. So it's about finding a different avenue in, whether it's like, we want a 4-syllable name. We want a 1-syllable name. We want a 4-letter name. That was something that I was doing because both my boys have 4-letter names. If I had a third son, I was going to have another 4-letter name. It was very important to me, and it really narrowed things down. So I was able to find names that I loved with 4 letters. And number 5 is about breaking out of the mental block. This is the most important step, honestly, but I saved it for last because we're going to get kind of deep here. So yes, you give them a name. That is a gift you give your child, right? But that's not the only thing you're going to give them. You're going to give them so many amazing things like stability, love, kindness, generosity, joy, a fun childhood. Like, you're going to give them a lot of things as their parent. And hopefully these are positive characteristics, and you're going to teach them lessons, and you're going to give them a safe home and food, and you're going to take them to school, and you're going to give them all these beautiful things. So when you think about it, the name is just one piece of this huge puzzle of all the things you're going to give your child. It's not the biggest piece, honestly. It might not even be in the, top 10. It is an important thing. It's my bread and butter, guys. I love names. Names are so important, but it is not the most important thing. It's about teaching our children. It's about giving them love. Like, to me, loving your child and supporting them is the most important thing. Giving them a stable home and making them feel safe and secure with you. That is the most important thing. Sometimes we have to step back and realize that we're putting a lot of pressure on this one thing we're giving our kid when we're giving them all these other things as well. And if that doesn't make sense, or if you're like, it's not helping, maybe go see a therapist, because at some point you have to be able to choose a name. And yes, there are name regret situations, and there are people who wait a year and they just can't pick. But for the most part, all of us end up choosing something. And I want you to love it. And I want you to find the joy in the name you give them. On a scale of 1 to 100, I kind of want you to be at like a 90 or more. I think that's fair. Maybe it's not 100. Maybe that's not how you live your life. And life is full of gray areas. So if you're like, I'm at a 75, but I really, really like their name, that's good enough. It's okay. It's good enough. I hope this was helpful. I really do, because I think this is a really important thing to talk about. And if you liked hearing my advice on baby names, please like this video and maybe send it to a friend who's struggling with baby names or who's going to have to name a baby at some point, because I think it could be really helpful. Follow me for more content like this and let me know if there's any other questions you have that I can answer. I'll see you in the next one. Happy naming!